Blackfin Beach had a reputation long before the deaths started. Locals whispered about it in the dark, said the water there never felt right. It was too cold, even on summer days, too still when the wind blew strong, and always, always too dark. Not blue, not green, black, as if the ocean floor opened into some endless pit and the light never came back up. They said the beach was cursed, that something was buried beneath it, something that should have stayed asleep. But tourists didn't care about curses. They came for the waves, the selfies, the cheap tiki drinks. They ignored the posted warnings, the missing posters, the old fisherman stories, until the blood tide came. It started with a surfer named Cody Jameson, 17, daredevil. He liked to ride the tides after midnight when the beach was empty and the moon was full. Said it made him feel alive. He paddled out one night and never came back. His surfboard washed ashore at dawn, snapped in half, with thick gouges carved deep into the fiberglass. No blood, no body. Just the stench of salt and something else. Something rotten. His friends said they'd heard a noise just before it happened. A heavy splash, like a whale crashing down, followed by silence. Not a wave, not a seagull, just silence. 3 days later, a lifeguard vanished during his morning rounds. Kevin Alvarez, 28, ex-Navy, the kind of guy who didn't spook easy. His chair was still upright, towel folded, but the sand around it was torn up, like there'd been a struggle. The only trace left behind was his whistle, found wrapped in slimy seaweed a few yards down the beach. Someone flying a drone caught blurry footage of something massive circling in the surf. A dorsal fin, black, serrated, jagged like a broken blade, rising high above the water before vanishing. Shark attacks, the news said. Locals knew better. There was an old bait shop near the dunes, run by a man named Ira Pike. White beard, stormy eyes, hands like driftwood. He didn't talk much, but when the second body disappeared, people started asking questions. He only said one thing. It ain't a shark, it's Uktana the flesh drinker. They laughed it off, said he'd been in the sun too long, but the ocean kept taking people. Swimmers, divers, a paddleboarder live streaming for clout. They all vanished in the same spot, just past the sandbar where the water dropped off like a cliff. Enter Dr. Helena Cortez, marine biologist, skeptic. She'd spent 2 decades studying sharks and deep-sea predators. When the town begged for help, she agreed. Thought it was a mutated great white. Maybe something displaced by warming currents. Nothing supernatural. Nothing cursed. She brought sonar drones and a diving crew. Went out past the breakers. Dropped below the surface. That's when everything changed. They didn't descend far. Just 70, maybe 80 feet. But the light disappeared almost instantly, swallowed by that black water. On sonar, something moved. Fast. Too fast. Then it was gone. Helena turned, and there it was, 20 feet long. Maybe more. Its flesh was mottled and torn, like it had been pieced together from other creatures. Its eyes glowed faintly red, like dying embers in the deep. The mouth was wrong, too wide, the teeth crooked, serrated like rusted blades. One fin was jagged like bone poking through rotted skin. And it didn't swim. It slithered, twisting like a serpent in the black. It brushed against her. Slowly. Not hunting. Just letting her know. It was there. Her partner, Miles, froze. He whispered through the comms. It's smiling. Then the feed went dead. When Helena surfaced, she was alone. She tried to explain what she'd seen, but no one would believe her. Not the Coast Guard, not the media. The only one who did was Ira Pike. He told her the rest of the story. Hundreds of years ago, A whaling ship sank off the coast during a blood moon. The crew had slaughtered a guardian spirit, a serpent said to protect the balance of the sea. In return, a curse was laid. The ocean would remember. And every few decades, under the right moon, it would rise again, inhabiting the body of a predator and twisting it into something hateful. They called it Uktenamer, not a shark, not anymore. A beast of vengeance, a relic of wrath. And once it woke, it had to feed. Helena didn't believe him, not fully. But then the beach party happened. It was the 4th of July weekend. Hundreds of people, loud music, fireworks, drunken dancing. The tide was low that night, suspiciously low. The waves pulled back far, revealing wet sand and old ship debris no one had seen before. Then, with no warning, the tide came rushing in, fast and violent. The water turned red before it even touched the shore. Screams erupted. From the depths, it rose. Towering, twisted, unnatural. Its body was bloated and pulsing, fins torn and twitching. It moved like it was dying. And still, it tore through people like paper. Footage leaked, shaky phone clips, screams, blood. Something black coiling through the water, dragging screaming bodies beneath the surface. 32 people died in under 5 minutes. The survivors fled. The town shut the beach. Reporters came, then helicopters. Then, nothing. The area was quietly sealed off. Toxic algae bloom, the headlines said. Environmental threat. But the locals, they knew. Helena returned one last time. Not to study, not to save. To end it. She went out alone, beneath a blood-red moon, strapped with explosives. She dove straight into the heart of the trench, looking for the beast. She never came back, but her underwater camera did. Found days later by a fisherman. It was cracked and covered in slime, but the footage was intact. The last shot showed Helena staring into the camera, soaked in tears, whispering, "It's not dead. It's just waiting. And it's not alone." They say on certain nights, you can still see a red glow under the waves. You can hear something humming below the surface, low and cold. And sometimes, just before dawn, a single fin cuts through the tide, gliding silently along the beach. Black, broken, smiling. If this story made you think twice about getting in the water, then it did its job. But remember, legends come from somewhere. So next time you're at the beach and the waves go too still, get out. Fast. Thanks for watching Spooky Chilling Tales. If you want more nightmares from the deep, hit that like button, subscribe, and keep the lights on, because the sea doesn't sleep, and neither do we.